Right, welcome. Please tell me your name and why you are here.
My name is Godelieve van Heteren and I am the director of the Rotterdam Global Health Initiative. And we're here because we launched just now, the Rotterdam Creative Coalitions for Serious Games and Innovative Learning in Global Health.
And what's that about?
Well, it's basically something slightly different, I think, from a lot of the companies that are here. The Rotterdam Global Health Initiative is already an established initiative. Network of people that deal with innovative ways of dealing with global health issues and global health problems. And what we've tried to do over the last 6-7 months is to team up with 6-7 creative companies, of which 5 have remained, 5 Rotterdam creative companies who deal with innovative learning and serious games, to address structural issues of improvement of health. So it's not so much about clinical matters, but it is very much about how can we make health in the world better accessible, better financiable, better manageable, also in places where, let's say, commerce doesn't want to go yet. So the darker provinces in Africa, some places in Asia where people are really struggling to get by. And so we team up the creative energy of the Rotterdam Global Health Initiative, which is about research and innovative knowledge, with the people who are designing and developing games and innovative strategies. And I'm so enthusiastic about it because it's really, I feel it's a unique combination which really matters in the world. My own work is 50% I work in Europe and 50% I work in Africa and Asia. So I spend a lot of time in the places where we're actually where these challenges exist.
Yeah.
And what I see here is that there's so many common issues that we share, which in new ways can be addressed. Because if you look at, let's say, development aid, where we talk a lot about that, a lot of the mechanisms don't function anymore. Money is wasted, money is not spent well, and people on the ground never see anything. I mean, there's lots of money circulating, but people don't see anything. And with the techniques and the methods and the enthusiasm that I see here in these creative companies, I actually think there's a lot that we can connect with that actually matter for people elsewhere. So we had a champagne moment just now, and I'm very happy that we launched it here at the Games for Health.
Yeah, it sounds really special that all these companies seem to come from Amsterdam. No, I want to claim it. I mean from Rotterdam. So why are there so many companies who are, well,
I can actually talk very objectively because I live in Amsterdam and I'm very fond of Rotterdam. For the people who are not Dutch, there's always a rivalry between the cities, but Rotterdam is down to earth, pragmatic and very innovative. Since Erasmus University, which is the basis of this Rotterdam Global Health Initiative, was based in Rotterdam, we did a pitch about 4 months ago for a game dealing with governance in health. So good politics, good governance. Because what we see in the world is that many places there's money enough, but the politics are wrong, there's corruption. And so what we want to do is address these issues. For most people locally, let's say in certain places in Africa, it's very hard to discuss corruption because they are in hierarchies, they might lose their job, they might even lose their life if they criticize the powers that are. Yeah. So we pitched, or asked for a pitch, and these companies from Rotterdam responded. And these pitches were so good, all of them, that I thought if I had had the money, I would have hired them all. But what we did instead is we, of course, granted the prize for developing the game to one company. But we said to the others, let's sit together and see how complementary knowledge that we all have can actually work. Because what I noted when I did that pitch, when I saw the pitches, is actually that they were very, very complementary to each other. And so yes, Rotterdam, the city of Rotterdam is also very interested in promoting this. The Media Commission has actually helped us a little bit also to develop this. And so there is a lot of energy in the city of Rotterdam to promote this work. And so I'm very happy that we can team up. But of course we're not excluding others. We have now links developing with Groningen. We have links, of course, with parties elsewhere in the world. So it is not just the
Not
Netherlands.
just yeah.
But for the Dutch parties, we're very open to discussing this with others as well.
So, why do you feel it's interesting for creative parties to join an initiative like yours?
Well, you have to ask them, but what they told me is that they find it very important also to get a better evidence base under what they're doing. And I think for people in the university and academia in general, I think it's very good to be exposed to the creative possibilities that are out there. I attended a workshop here at the conference by Ben Shore yesterday, and one of the things he was going on about is that academics on the whole, they stay in their ivory towers. They think they're very knowledgeable about a lot of things, but they don't
see the real world.
Well, they also don't see what is possible. And so they think because they're experts on contents, like in health, there's lots of people with a lot of knowledge about neurology or about health systems, but they might not necessarily know how to communicate this or how to deal with this or how to relate over this or what new possibilities are out there already, well established. So the companies like to be in contact with contents experts, especially in the domain of health, because there's many things that are, of course, a bit specialized. I think academics should open up much more, and I'm one of them because I came from a kind of academic side, but open up to the potential that is out there. And I think it's a total win-win. I believe it's a total win-win.
So, are you just here to announce this initiative, or are you here to speak as well?
Well, I'm here. I was here yesterday for the workshop. I'm here to listen mainly. Because, as I said, I'm a bit of a novice in this field. Of course, I'm a user of social media. I was a politician before, so I was in the parliament. I used all the social media that are around. But I think it's good also to get much more awareness of the difficulties in designing and developing, the technical difficulties. I have an interest in technique, so I'm not afraid to listen to those kinds of presentations. So I think listening is the main thing this time, and maybe next time I'll speak as well.
What are the big trends going on in games, or in serious games?
Well, I think you have to ask all these designers because probably I only see a fraction of it. But what I find very exciting is that more and more from a kind of one-player games, you go to the multiplayer situations. I saw this, strangely enough, at the pilot game that we had. It was designed for a one-player situation, but I presented that game to a group of African decision makers in a big course I give in Mombasa. And so here were 30 people who were experienced African health workers, health decision makers like ministers, etc. And they were playing in groups. And so the designing company here said, well, it's very interesting for us to see actually how what we designed as an individual, one sort of standalone game, how different it is if it's discussed in a group. And if you go and start to work in other contexts, like in a certain African context, a standalone game might not be so interesting. It might be much more interesting to design for a group. Of course, this will introduce a lot of complexity. But I see trends going on in that direction, and those are the trends that I'm interested in because I'm thinking of the environments in which these games will have to function. Yeah. And so it was absolutely exciting. I made a little film of it. How lively these debates were, and all the participants in Africa in this Mombasa course afterwards said, this is so fantastic because for the first time we could speak freely about some of these issues.
Because
not feeling it was a game and it was not me talking to my minister. So I think there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah. When you look at Holland and how people perceive these games, quite a few people are skeptical. They think, well, does it really work? Does it do anything? But do you meet the same skepticism in the places where you go in Africa, or are people more open-minded?
Well, I think on the whole people find it interesting because I think the game development is not... I mean, there's centers in Africa like in Nigeria and in Kenya, of course Nairobi, have big game developers as well. Yeah. But if you go to slightly more rural areas, slightly more... I wouldn't like to use the word backward, but more traditional areas, this is new up to a point, but of course kids there as well, they start to have computers, they play games on computers. The only thing that they don't know is serious games, so they find that interesting. On the whole, I think if you present it in the context like a course, like I did, people take it as a serious product. I mean, I'm more amazed by some of the arrogance that exists here. I think I encounter much more openness in African or Asian environments. Here, I think a lot of people think, well, you know, this is for kids or this is this and that, and they don't even want to open up to the possibilities.
Yeah.
I think the arrogance is more here than there.
Okay. So now the coalition is announced. What's next?
Well, we're of course exploring different potentials. There are subject areas where we're already trying to see whether we can develop next prototypes. We're talking to financiers. The next stage, of course, will be to present this to a select group of financiers to begin with, because I think you need to invest a little bit before you get this going. We were very happy to be able to invest this pilot game for this governance, but I think on other subjects we do this as well. We're looking at Europe because in the European context there's a lot of interest, and I think, well, we have to also earn our own market. I'm convinced that there are clients out there for whom this might be very interesting, but they need to know that it's there. So we're setting up a portfolio with the companies, and it's great fun. I enjoy it.
Okay, thank you very much. Good luck to you.
Thank you.